Man, we got folks waiting. I'm over here messing around in the merch store, right? Trying to get things lined up. What it do? What it do? Team No Sleep. My goodness, March 15th. Montel Allen, how you living, man?
Man, blessed to see another day, man. I'm out here chilling in Minnesota right now,
Yeah,
so it's
literally
all
chilling,
good.
right? You out there
Yeah,
cold.
yeah. We in the middle of the day, about to have another little slight blizzard
Mm,
coming in later on tonight, but otherwise, man, it's a blessing, man. I mean, it's a beautiful place. You just got to kind of, appreciate where
that-
we come from. So
that's true.
it's
That's
always
true.
better than hey. Shout outs and prayers out to those people in Central California, Northern California, just going through those mudslides and that rain.
Yeah.
Man, I know they have some difficult times with all that stuff over there. So shout outs to them. My prayers are with you guys, and I hope everything works out.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely some crazy weather out here. I was just talking to some folks earlier today. I mean, snow at crazy low elevations, and all these floods and everything. But first of all, say something about this bucket hat I got on.
Man, look at that
Say
team no
something
sleep
about this
swag right
Team
there.
No Sleep bucket hat that I'm rocking. Oh my goodness, we in the building, folks. Let me while y'all look
Swagged
at
out.
that and y'all take advantage of that 15% promo code that I just put in the comments. Let me recognize our people that are in the audience. Dr. Kevin Cox is here. Can't start the show without Kevin Cox. He is the man behind the scenes, making sure that no foulness gets by in the comment section. So seniors in the building, appreciate you, sir, for being in. I know you said you were gonna bring some other folks to the family tonight, so let's definitely do that. Jim is talking. What you talking about? He says, "Believe me, I'm pumped for tonight's show, but tomorrow's." Oh, okay. See, man, you can't. Don't wag the dog. Don't talk about tomorrow's show before we even go into the night show. But man, appreciate you for being here as well, brother. Appreciate you for being here. Cheryl, good to see you. Montel and I was actually just talking about the story that you submitted, so we probably gonna get into that. Oh my goodness, James Freeman is in the building. I got some old school cats in here, so okay, loving to seeing this, loving seeing this. Uh, look, see Kevin is there telling people hit the like button. That's how we get on the top list of YouTube and all that. And I'm gonna say that specifically because, man, some of the stories that we're gonna cover tonight we've covered in the past, and we were just talking about this. This is why we're a couple of minutes late. We've covered almost a year and a half, almost 2 years earlier. And now some of these stories are resonating and hitting kind of the mainstream media. Now we're starting to see some of these stories on the ESPNs and the CNNs of the world. So I think the majority of folks are saying, oh, wait a minute. What Montel and James have been talking about resonates, and now it's not just a fly-by-night story. It's actually a socially conscious, socially impacting story that originates in the sports world. That's what Team No Sleep is, y'all. Social impact of sports. That being said, man, let's go ahead and get to that particular story that I want to talk about. I'll get to these comments also as well while we're doing that, but we've had this conversation. I'm just going to talk about the headline, and I'll let Montel go into kind of the specifics. We've talked about equality. We've talked about fairness. We've talked about men versus women. We've talked about transgender athletes have the right to participate in sports, no doubt. Period. End of question. End of story right there. But when you start getting transgender athletes participating on teams where they weren't necessarily born that sex for, then you've got then you've got concern, then you've got questions in terms of equity, in terms of fairness, in terms of capabilities, right? If you're born a man and you transfer to a female, you still have the bone density, you still have the muscle mass, you still have those characteristics for the most part of being a man. Is that fair for the other team to play an all-female team when one individual is transgender? We talked about that before. We were supposed to have someone come on a couple of weeks ago, but they have not confirmed yet. But here goes another story. CNN. Girls high school team deemed ineligible to play in future activities and tournaments after they forfeited their basketball game against a team with a transgender student athlete. I'm gonna scroll it down. Montel, talk to us about the highlights of this story. Let's get into a discussion with the people in the audience.
Absolutely. This happened in Vermont. Girls basketball team. They refused to play a transgender, team. They decided to not because they thought it was going to be an unfair advantage because they had a transgender player on there. And this is something we've been talking about for, I don't know, years now. We've been going on it
Mm-hmm.
for years. and we're coming across now the issues are now starting to become more mainstream. Is it an unfair advantage? To me, in my belief, it is. It is an unfair advantage. And I think if they have every right to identify as a transgender, then women should have every right to identify as being a woman and want to play with other women. Not transgender women, not modified women. They want to be played with women, other women, other people that were born the same as they were to be able to compete. And I think more so on just this issue, it's starting to become now a women's sports issue. It's diminishing women's sports in a way. And in the way I mean by that,
because that's an interesting little angle there. Talk about how it's diminishing and maybe causing us to look at women's sports overall in a different light. That's a good point there.
Well, I mean, we got to look at it. Women have worked so hard to get to where they are in women's sports, right, to be recognized, and to be a part of this and be a part of women's sports. I mean, right now we're getting into the women's basketball tournament, which is big. They're getting into the women's softball, which is big. All these women's sports are very, very big, and they fought so hard to try to get on the equal playing field as male sports. And now men can have the opportunity to change themselves in a woman to compete in there and diminish the sport because it's an unfair advantage. Yeah. It just is. I've said before, maybe they need to create a transgender league or a transgender sport, section where they can compete in that if that's what they want to identify with. But this is going to be a big argument. This is going to be something that's going to be, I think, going to keep going up the ladders and figuring out, because what's going to happen when we have a transgender at the collegiate level playing basketball? Right. And there's a basketball team that refuses to do that.
Yeah, and as the Olympics are starting to come up, right? Again, because we talked about that many months ago, right? Once we start getting to that world stage, what's going to be the conversation, how are we going to deal with it? But now, again, this story comes from CNN. So again, we talked about this a year and a half ago. Folks didn't believe us, but now it's national headline news. And what happened was Mid-Vermont Christian School withdrew from the tournament because they didn't want to play against another team that had a transgender athlete on it. And obviously, Mid-Vermont Christian is appealing that suspension. Don't know how that's going to work out, but they rightfully should be appealing that to, for one, have the conversation, right, to tell the different sides of the story and to see if we can come up with some clarity and some a path forward. But this. You almost wonder how this affects the athletes as well, right? We're talking about it just as the teams and as the sport and all this, but so I want to look at it also from the transgender player, right? That's a conversation as well that we should have, because everyone's talking about just they got somebody on their team who probably maybe should or should not be on the squad, but no one has talked about how that player feels, because they're now the center of attention of all of this stuff.
Well, I mean, let's be very transparent.
Come on.
If you have the right, let me rewind. Why do we have to be empathetic to transgenders and not be empathetic to women's sports? Like, let's disregard the 100,000 women that play the sport. We have to be empathetic. We have to be very apologetic and be very knowledgeable about the transgender person that's transgender, to try to force them to be accepted. I'm fine accepting you if you choose to be that way, but we have a problem with them integrating them within sports, because it's traditionally biological man versus biological man, biological woman versus biological woman. There's never the crossing part hasn't happened yet, and now everyone wants us to say, "Oh, let's just go ahead and accept it."
Right.
First of all, let's go back. Black people just got accepted in the mainstream sports not even close to 75 years ago.
Come on, make it plain now. Make it plain.
And that was done. Everybody watched 42. You see what he went with, what he had to go through, just to get integrated into baseball. Getting integrated in sports has been taken. It's just 100 years ago that the Negro League was able to be, attracted into baseball, and they were taking those players because of the way it's on and where it is. Now you're asking us to accept transgender thing without any flack or anything going on, or it has to be a smooth transition. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Our society doesn't work that way in the United States. There are issues that we have to deal with.
Yeah.
And this is a conversation that has to be had. Is it fair or unfair? Me personally, Montel Allen says it's unfair, in my opinion. I can't speak for the leagues and conferences. It's unfair because, like you said, that is born a male that has different genetics makeup going to play against women, so he has an unfair advantage, or the transgender, he or she, I'm not sure whatever they identify with, has an unfair advantage competing in strictly women's sports.
Yeah. I'd be curious to hear, but listen, folks, go ahead. This is a safe space. Go and type your comments in. I know, folks, you all know that, but love to hear what folks think about this. If you haven't heard about this story, if you're just now hearing about it now, or just your thoughts off the top of the dome. But I don't know if this is going to be resolved sooner than later. It's definitely not going to be resolved.
Conversation.
What's that?
This is not one conversation. This has got to go.
Okay. There you go.
More and more conversations and getting a better understanding. We in the United States and we as people fear what we're not knowledgeable about and the unknown.
Yeah.
Automatically off the top, we fear it. Whether it be food, people, or anything, we fear it. We don't know transgenders in the public eye. We don't. We we speculate. People either talk down on them or accept them, or disregard, or kind of go about their day. But this is something we have to get comfortable with. You always talk about getting comfortable, having a comfortable conversation.
Yeah.
We have to start getting comfortable with, and we're starting to get more comfortable in the society aspect. But in competitive sports, it's not a comfortable conversation. It's not even close.
Yeah.
There's a left and a right side of the fence. There is no middle ground or no gray area. You're either with it or you want it, and there's a lot of good, long, strong arguments about it. You just have to have that conversation. We have it with the swimming in the collegiate area. Right. Now we're having it with basketball teams. Like, hey, we don't want to participate in. And then I know we're always empathetic towards the transgender, but these young ladies have worked their butts off to get where they're at. Why do we have to just accept someone giving them an unfair advantage? Why do we have to accept it and go compete against someone if we think that gives us unfair physical advantage? This is it. I'm not even comfortable having a conversation.
Right. That's why I want to have, because we have a subject matter expert who's lined up. We just can't get, and she's a professional athlete. She's I think professional skateboarder. Working with her PR agency because she came out talking about this as well and didn't want to compete in her skateboarding activities with transgender athletes, and we want to bring that person on as soon as our schedules mix together. It may be something that we have to record and then post later or something of that nature, but I'm seeing the comments coming in too, man. Folks are saying, hey, folks in the comments tend to agree, saying, listen, male versus male, female versus female, it's kind of hurting the higher level of the sport, hurting, as you say, young women and women's sport, those kinds of things. I'm seeing these comments come in. And then Kevin Cox is saying, you're right. Not sure if there is a right answer. Fluid situation, and it will be ever changing as it continues to become more prevalent. I think it's always been prevalent. It's just now becoming more of a conversation piece. And now, folks, you can't run from it anymore. Right now, and I keep bringing up the Olympics because the Olympics is that one center stage where the entire world is watching. And when that comes up in what year is this? 23 next year?
Yeah, next year.
There's going to be a conversation. We trying to prep folks right now, right? With these little morsels of topics. We're trying to prep people right now.
What's crazy? What's even more crazy about the situation? I mean, and let's be 100%. We're just a society starting to accept homosexuality.
Yes, come on now.
Like we are just starting to accept homosexuality as a society. Now a person is transgender. It's a society where we're okay with it, and we've been taught how to deal with it. But in the sports world, and I can only imagine a young lady or a young male competing, and they're competing against somebody that has a physical advantage over them. And I'm not knocking transgender. They got enough of a battle to fight just to be accepted. I'm with you with the fight, but they got to understand women's rights just happened in the 1970s. Gay rights just happened I believe in the 1900s. Transgender rights they're gonna have to fight for those rights like they do, and fight through that discrimination like everyone else had to. And it's sad, but it's the reality of it. It's not that I'm knocking them; it's just the reality of it. That's gonna have to happen if they want to be able to compete in sports. They're gonna have to do those marches and everything, and go through these Congress things and all those things just to kind of get themselves in that situation to be able to participate. Do I agree with it? No. As of right now, I don't. And maybe I need to get a little more knowledgeable of it, because I believe if you were born a man and competing against women, there's an unfair advantage there. And until someone tells me anything wrong, then The competitive advantage, you're always going to have a competitive advantage just because you decided to identify with a different gender.
Yeah.
And I think that's not fair to the people that are in that gender.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Shouts out to, I see you, Brother Starks. Good hanging out with you this past weekend in Vegas. Remember the movie?
I remember Juana, man.
Yep. Right? Okay. Right. There we go right there. Cheryl's coming through. I agree. Maybe another branch or league for transgender people may be appropriate.
Yep.
Man, that would be tough.
It's easier said than done.
It's easier said than done, right? I mean, that's just going to bring an air of stigma, I think, as well. If we say, here's the LGBT league, or here's the transgender league, right? Here's the straight league, here's the gay league. I mean, that's not going to fly. But
that's segregation, and that's segregation for real.
Yeah, right.
That's not just that's some serious. That's some sexist segregation for real. If you start just saying, "Hey, all transgender league,"
that's gonna be tough.
All gay league. I don't know, and I don't have the answer. Please, I do not have the answer. I do not know what the answer could be. Yeah. But those things, when you get to that situation, you're playing with fire. I know that for a fact. That's playing with fire.
But the opportunity is, now I'm not going to call it a problem. The opportunity is someone has to have this conversation above our level. Someone at a governing board level has to have this conversation. And hopefully someone is watching this and someone will be courageous enough to come on. I will send you the link. Martell will send you the link. Wednesdays, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. We come live. Let's have this discussion with someone who's in that room that can make these decisions. So there we go. Man,
I'm ready to have an uncomfortable conversation.
You always ready. You always ready. You know what I'm saying? You in Minnesota, but look at you. You straight out of Compton. Look at him, boy. You already getting kudos on the stuff behind you on the wall. Though, shouts out to you, brother. Shouts out to you.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Before we get to this next one, I want to catch up on the comments because we definitely got folks chiming in. Do not go back to separate but equal. Come on now. That's a good point right there. Thank you, Flo, for being here. Appreciate you, my friend. If women's leagues are already low on views, just imagine an LGBTQ league. A lot of it comes back down to money, right?
That's more of a money issue. Yeah,
that's an economic conversation right there. News, appreciate you on that one. That's a decent conversation right there, man. Adding its own league lead to arguments about the LGBTQ community not being equal to others. Kevin, listen, coming through with some gems right there. So that's truth right there. Brother Strong coming in. Appreciate you having here, man. Neither the NBA changes their league results or game former player Jason Collins. Did the NBA change their league rules or game for former player? No. Had to read that twice. No, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's you got to make it equal and fair.
Yeah,
I think the equal part we can make it equal kind of across the board. But now we're going to be discussing the physical fairness of the situation. Someone that's transgender, in my eyes, it's not fair to play against someone that's a biological woman. You change yourself from a man to a woman. There's where the problem. That's where the problem, and I think that's where the discussion is going to lay. Is there an unfair advantage? And we've known traditionally when men compete against women, especially as you get to the elite level, they're stronger. Like you said, their bone density, they're typically bigger, stronger, and so on and so on. And that's why we created two different leagues so they can compete against each other, so we can compete against each other. And again, I don't have the answer. I'm not transgender phobic. I don't have any of that. I just don't know. I just personally feel it's unfair.
That's right there. That's a good point that you just said right there. We're not phobic. We're not afraid to even have this conversation. That's why we're having the conversation because it is so awkward. It is so contentious for some folks. But yeah, we are, I think, courageous enough to even have this conversation to try to hear all three sides of the argument. But I'm gonna put this up here because my mother-in-law just came with the mic drop statement right here. Caitlyn Jenner came out saying biological boys shouldn't compete in women's sports. She said she respects the right to transition, but doesn't feel it's fair to compete in women's sports. She said men have a larger cardiovascular system, longer legs, etc. That's exactly what we said at the beginning, right? It's just be who you are who you are, be what you want to be. If you want to transition, but it's just not the same. It's not equal for a LeBron James 6'6", 7, 8, 250-pound male to transition to a female and then decided he want to go out there and swim on the female squad. Right. I mean, it's just there's no equity in that. So let's see, man. All right. We need a transgender athlete on the show to speak on this issue. Jim, if you know somebody, man, holler at us.
Yeah.
Right. The doors are open.
I'm all open. I have my own questions I want to ask, and I want them to. I want the argument. I do. I want the argument to tell me why they should play, and I can explain why I feel they shouldn't play. I really want that to have that conversation because maybe at that point there's a resolution, or maybe we just agree to disagree. That's okay too. I'll respect whoever's opinion, but I mean, this is something that we told you guys 2 years ago was going to happen, and now it's really starting to happen because people are feeling the same way, or teams are feeling the same way. And to me, it is. I want them to participate. I do. I want transgender to have the opportunity to participate, but also I want these girls to have the opportunity to have success, like it's been they've been able to have for so long, and play against people they know they don't have a physical advantage against. You know, there's just not that unfair advantage physically.
True.
So
let me get one more comment on this, and then we're going to move on because we got a lot of stuff to get into, folks. I put the little feelers out there on social media telling folks we were going to get into it. But we've been going on this for 20-some minutes, so you know this is the real deal. New says, to play devil's advocate, we also need to remember many athletes also use PEDs, which also gives them an unfair advantage. True statement, true conversation, right? Performance enhancement drugs is out there.
And when they catch them, they suspend them as well. So
again,
once they catch them, they're suspended, or their records don't stick, or whatever it may be. They catch them when they use enhanced drugs. But we're not talking about just a drug. We're talking about a physical makeup, which is completely kind of along the same line, but I should say a biological physical makeup. There's the bigger difference than just taking drugs, than just taking some PEDs.
Yep.
So. Yeah, man, I would love to have the conversation. I would love to have someone is courageous enough or wants to come on and talk about it. I think we should have the conversation.
There it is. Good conversation. Listen, I saw all these comments also about this bucket hat. Y'all better get this. Listen, y'all, I'm telling you, Team No Sleep, we got some nice merch out there, folks. You got the link to the store and you saw the promo code. Go out and get that. Don't stop playing. You know, it's payday. What, Friday? Go ahead and spend your little money and get you a couple of shirts and a couple of hats.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go and get back into it. Oh man, Ja Morant. He's still when he's out there on the court, he's an amazing player. But man, Ja's got some things going on. He went out there and he did an interview with Jalen. Right. Had a conversation about the incident, talked about that at the strip club. Jalen said, listen, I've been to the club. I've probably sat in that same chair, man, but you can't be out here flashing and brandishing guns. You can't be out here doing that kind of thing. Now it's come to light that Ja Morant and his crew went to one of his sister's high school basketball games. His sister and a player on the other team got into an altercation, just started calling each other out their name, and no real fisticuffs or nothing like that, just a lot of talking and screaming and yelling. But during the game, Ja and his crew went up and approached this other girl, or after the game, they got in her face, said they was going to fight. They was going to fight a girl, a high school girl, first of all. And there's video of that. Come to find out now, the league has found out about it. So Ja's got another 8 games that he's suspended for conduct detrimental to the league. It's just snowballing downhill. There's been nothing new since the gun incident, but again, now things are starting to show character and the circle that you put yourself around. He's got, like I said a couple of weeks ago, he's just got to cut some of these cats loose. If he's got to cut his dad loose. Right. This is the first time that I actually agree with Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith said the exact, and yeah, I can cut that. You can cut that out and share that all across the internet because it's the first time that I've ever agreed with Stephen A. Smith. He said the exact same thing. Hey man, if Pops is going to be part of the crew, he's going to have to rise above the level of just one of the regular cats. He's going to have to be an example. He's going to have to say, Ja, you don't need to be in these types of situations and all this and all that. What are your thoughts on just real briefly on this here, Ja being suspended for another 8 games?
Deserving.
Mm.
He's deserving. Absolutely deserving. He's a professional athlete, supposed to be a professional business. He's a representative of a business,
He is
a
the
governing
business,
body entity that's
right?
built billions
Jay-Z,
of
right? I'm
dollars.
not just a business, I'm the business, right?
Yeah, he's the business, and now you're gonna go out and argue with high school girls,
Yeah.
at a high school game. First of all, you can't do that. I'm disappointed in Ja because it just seems like he's an immature young man. He's just immature, very immature. And his dad, I don't know. I don't know if Pops condone that, but his dad does need to rise up and be a big. If he's that big of an influence in his life, then he needs to rise up and take control and be his dad, not be the cool dad, not want to
Not be
drink
his
at the
friend.
sideline and cheer him on. He needs to be the more
Right.
disciplinarian and let him know not to lose it.
Yeah.
But also his circle. It ain't just his dad. It's his circle that's going on. What's wrong with his circle? His circle's not protecting John. That's sad because we've seen in instances where you got to protect the person that's making the money, the bag. And we've seen instances where it's been so successful. This is crazy because we saw, LeBron and his team successful. We saw Kevin Garnett and his boys he brought with him very successful. This is the first time we've seen the public eye that the guys brought him and his crew outside of kind of Allen Iverson, where he got a bunch of knuckleheads around.
Exactly. Oof.
So it's deserving, man. There's no more excuses for Ja. He's run out of excuses. He's run out of reasons why he's having this kind of erratic behavior. And everything he's getting, he's earned it. He's earned the $62 million he's getting, and he's earning every last one of these suspensions he's getting. So,
listen, he'll wake up for sure if Nike decides to.
He's getting close.
Contract, right?
He's getting close.
He's getting real. Let something else come up. Let TMZ show one more video.
Yeah.
let something else come up.
But the thing about that, he can get Nike back. Nike's been forgiven.
True. They depends on I think it depends on the scale, though, right? Again,
and John's on that scale. On that scale. Yeah. They forgave Kobe Bryant for his incident. What he did, they dropped him at Furstenberg, forgave him. Rest in peace, Kobe. They forgave him. They forgiven other athletes that had issues with him. If Ja gets dropped, he'll get picked back up as long as he keeps balling and he gets back on the court and he does his thing. His basketball skills are second to none. He's there. He's there basketball-wise. He's just going to have to work on the off-court stuff and dealing with these other issues, and just stay your ass in the hotel.
Man, stay your ass in the hotel. Just don't order in. You don't have to go out. Just stay home.
And he can't. And we already see he's incapable of bringing people to his house because he punched a 17-year-old.
Don't make no sense.
And he had a little camp with. So he needs to just stay at home with his child for a little while and get his wits. And man, like you said, cut off some of that circle because I think he allows a lot of outside influences get to him. And he feels he has the need to react, and he doesn't. His crew should be the one reacting and protecting the bag. But you know what? Hey, sorry about that. You're right. Adidas. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You got that right, Kevin Cox. Sorry about that. Our moderator's on point.
Kevin, listen, man. Mr. Cox is on point, right? He's not going to let us speak anything that's out of turn right here. He's going to keep us right.
But the only thing I agree, Kevin, you're right. Kobe was on a different level. But John, today's age, is that level because the kids nowadays that follow John don't know who Kobe was.
That's a good point.
John's that guy.
That's a good point. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That generation that knows Kobe, that we follow Kobe and we love Kobe, is gone. I mean, it's not there. Ja is the new generation's. They look up to him and they like him a lot. He's the player, and on the court, he is that guy. He's unstoppable.
Montel, check this out. Marvin is saying the NBA needs to set an example and drop him.
Impossible. Won't do it.
What do you think about that? I mean, it's a question, and we're gonna address it. But
okay, and I asked Mr. Starks. I don't know how old he is, but did you do everything?
He's all right. He's our age.
Yeah. Did you do everything perfect at the age of 23? When he got his first job and started getting money, was you doing everything perfect? I don't know. Some of the things I know I could be crucified for when I was doing was 23. You know, but somebody guided me and taught me, and I moved on, and I kind of figured it out. I'm not going to crucify a 23-year-old man for making stupid mistakes. I do think he needs to be punished, and if he doesn't acknowledge after the punishment, then we have a bigger problem. But as of right now, I don't think they should drop him. But I do believe, me personally, I think they need to suspend him extensively to let them know that this behavior won't be tolerated. It shouldn't be just 4 games, 8 games. I'll be like, we're going to suspend you straight off the bat, 25 games.
Yeah.
No pay.
Period.
You're not getting paid. You ain't trying. Yeah, we're going to make a strong example out of you to make sure you, not only did you understand, but the people that come behind you understand this kind of behavior won't be tolerated.
This doesn't work.
And if you hit them like that, I think the message will start to seep through.
Hope so, man. Hope so. Anusha's saying, and it's true, right? It's all fun and games until you start losing brand deals, sponsorships, until the pocketbook gets a little bit lighter. When you can't take everyone to Jacobs and get them the new watch, when you can't go get the new necklace and things like that, that's when some of these cats will start drifting away as well. But
it's funny because I follow hip hop and I follow some of these guys, and Fat Joe was talking about when he had to cut his crew off. He said I had to cut my crew off the same way. I came in the room and they said I ain't got no more money, and I saw only 2 guys. He said I had over 100 guys with me, and there was only 2 guys that stayed with me. Said no matter what you got, I'm gonna be with you. I think John needs to have that epiphany moment with his crew and figure out like, hey, either I'm gonna put you on payroll and you're gonna do a solid job, or you gotta go. But all this hand me outs and doing all that and just roll with me, it doesn't work. I also have another story. When I was in Miami, I met Jada Kiss's manager and Ludacris's manager. Happened to just be in the same line grabbing food when I was down in Miami. And I remember I was earjacking. I was listening to their conversation, how they were talking about, no, we don't bring everybody. Everybody can't come on this trip. They can't. They can come if they pay their own way, but they can't come on this trip. We're not risking it all, for these guys just wanting to ride on be on the bandwagon. So I think they just get to a certain maturity level that they say, hey, okay, I got to cut some people off and roll that way. Hopefully, Ja reaches that point sooner than later.
Sooner than later. I love this. Montel is definitely a brother that lives by the "everybody makes mistakes" quote. Give him a shot. Right, everyone falls. Let them get up, but you can't keep falling. I can't let you keep on falling. And you can't be pulling me down once, too. Twice. Yeah, you can't keep falling.
And in John's situation, he keeps falling. Right? We keep hearing about one incident after the other, after the other, after the other. So I think the NBA is going to have to lay down a really stiff penalty for him, and I will lay a stiff penalty for his crew, and I'll lay a stiff penalty for his father. Hey, this is what we're not tolerating that in this league.
Love it.
If you want to continue to get paid, partner, you better wise up, or
straighten up and fly right. Who is that? I'm not King Cole. I just, y'all young cats don't know. I just gave y'all a little knacky. Hey, let's go ahead and do a little brand acknowledgement right here. Shouts out. Where yours at? Shouts out to Sly.
Right here, man. I keep it up slide. I'm always on my slide. When I'm going to keep sleep, I'm on my slide.
Y'all saw we had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. This actually is a pretty decent drink here. This is the chill version for brain and body relaxation. So don't try to take it and then go to the gym as a pre-workout or something. They're coming out with that, I believe, eventually. But this is kind of more of a I don't know what it is. Is it clever, cunning, cool? Sly is sneaky good, ready for adventure day or night. I see it. Nootropics and I don't know what it is. But we got a promo code. Go to drinkonthesly.com and use Team No Sleep, and you can get 15% off with them. I'll put the link in the description as well. Y'all, you see, we got brand deals now, folks.
Hey, when y'all watch Snowfall later on the night, make sure you go ahead and drink a little bit of Sly.
Yeah, come on now, listen.
A little bit of Sly with your popcorn.
All y'all that were here with us from the beginning, y'all see we got brand deals now. So and I saw a comment and we got a lot of merch. I saw there was a comment about, I think was it Noosh or someone wanting to be in the inner circle. I was working on that before the show. Send me a DM on Twitter or somewhere, or if you got my email, send that to me, and I will make sure that you will be part of that special group within the community, because I'm about to fire up the community this week. And yeah, it's gonna be dope. Finally decided what we're gonna do. Yeah, man. I'm excited because things are popping. But let's go and get into some other stories here. Kind of funny, kind of not funny. I don't know who we laughing. I don't know who's laughing, but I'm not laughing. And neither is Mr. Darren Waller. Neither is Miss Kelsey Plum. Darren and Kelsey, newlyweds, just married. Kelsey plays for the Las Vegas Aces. Darren Waller used to play for the Las Vegas Raiders, but now he plays for the New York Giants. Not by his doing. It just, the trade, y'all know NFL trades just happen, and a lot of teams were making movements, things of that nature.
Nah, this is personal. This is
But
personal.
all right, you go ahead and get into it. I'm trying to set it up. You go ahead and get into it.
Yeah, you trying to tee it up. Nah.
I'm trying to tee it up, but you go ahead and get into it, man. Tell folks what's happening.
Josh Daniels leaked, and I'll call him punk ass because I think he's a horrible
Go ahead
coach.
on. I'm gonna give you the whole screen.
Coach. I don't care about the Raiders. I think he's a horrible coach. But punk ass Josh Daniels at the combine or at some event released the fact that Kelsey and Waller was going to get married, which they didn't release to the public. They didn't want anyone to know. They didn't want no one to know. They were kind of doing it secretly. He released it to the Las Vegas Journal or one of the newspapers there. So obviously, from him releasing it, and they find out on social media that they're getting, that everyone knows about their wedding. Mr. Waller is upset at Josh Daniels for saying something because he wasn't supposed to say anything. So they have kind of a beef and a rift between them because he wasn't supposed to leak the information, blah, blah, blah. Something I'm pretty sure time would tell they would have got over with. But since Waller and them had some words, he didn't appreciate it. What's the name of Daniels wasn't invited to the wedding. Literally a week later, he trades him to New York for a third rounder. Mind you, this is a former all-pro player that's putting up all-pro numbers for a third rounder. Typically, a person like him will go for either a first rounder or second rounder or a lot of future picks. He traded him for a miserable third rounder.
Yeah, it was dirty.
Dirty.
Yeah,
took it personal. Which Josh McDaniels instead should have been a man and said, hey, I'm sorry I leaked the information. I didn't mean to do that. I understand you're upset. Here's a gift or here's a wedding gift. I'm sorry I didn't, it wasn't my way. Instead, his punk ass says, I'm gonna trade you and get you out of my team because I just don't want to deal with it. And that doesn't make any sense, man. It's real. It's just petty. It's pettiness at its finest in the NFL. You know what I mean? And now, so some people that just got married, thinking they're gonna build their life or build some type of life together, at least he got to go.
Yeah, just got married. I mean, literally just haven't even walked off of the stage. The Reverend haven't finished saying here's the couple yet, and come to find out, he has to now move 3,000 miles away. That's dirty.
You in a long distance relationship already. And the cold part, Kelsey Plum, his wife was a WNBA All-Star. Yeah. She's stuck for the next, I think, 3 years in her contract.
Yeah, she can't go. She can't leave the Aces, right? So
and he's under contract under New York for the next 3 years because he's only done 2 of his 5-year contract. So basically, they got to play. They got to play in different places unless there's a trade working out. I mean, I just think that's petty on the lowest level, man. Like he could at least have a conversation with him. And the cold part, I read an article. Waller didn't even know he was traded until he found out. He didn't have a conversation. We're going to trade you. He just traded him.
He just traded him again. Did it behind his back, and that's why I keep saying it was just dirty. So there's that right there. Y'all Raiders fans are y'all whatever. The team okay, but coach is not a cool dude. So we'll leave that alone. Now the Liberty need to trade for her. Okay, that would be a cool story right there. You know how much I love the story. Then move.
But that's not happening.
It's not going to happen for another 3 years.
She was an All-Star Game MVP, and they just won it. They trying to go back to back. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not.
That's not going to happen. But I do hope she has a successful year. I hope she does everything. But I think that's just tough. Especially when you just got married. You're trying to, like I said, you're trying to build whatever you're trying to build together, and then all of a sudden he has to go. He's shipped out. Now she can go with it for majority of the season. But she's got to come back at some point to get ready for her training camp, which is in November. So she can spend maybe 2 months, but I'm sure her training camp starts in November or October. That she got to get ready to get back on the court or whatnot. So it's just a foul, man. It's just petty on Josh McDaniels' part. And I think I don't like Josh McDaniels. He's a great coordinator. He's a horrible coach.
Yeah,
we could tell he ran David Carr out of there, and now he did this
Yeah.
petty thing. So
A lot
it
of
is what it is.
movement during the trade deadline. So we might be getting into that too if somebody wants to talk about that. But we got at least two more kind of serious stories that we want to make sure that we get into before the top of the hour. But so let's go ahead and talk about this situation right here. Let's go ahead and move right on into it. Man, Stanley Wilson Jr. used to play. Who did he used to play for? He used to play for.
I think for the Eagles or the Panthers. I can't remember.
The Panthers. That's what he played for. The Panthers. Okay. Man was in prison. Was incarcerated. He recently lost his life. 40 years young. Lost his life in the institution, right, for reports of excessive force. We don't know what the videos look like. We don't know all the situations and the circumstances, but within this story right here, this is just another sad story of someone having challenges with mental capabilities, right? He's had some mental awareness issues, mental health issues that he had to deal with. So they had him separated from the majority of the population at the facility. But you just think that knowing that diagnosis, knowing that this man has some specific needs when it comes to correction, even behind bars, even in jail, that the professionals, the law enforcement agents know how to deal with that, as opposed to having this headline story, died from excessive force from police. Right. I mean, he's in jail. He don't have any weapons. You know, he didn't try to shank nobody. He wasn't involved in any gang activity or anything of that nature. And the family is obviously torn apart. His dad played in the NFL as well. So they're thinking that maybe he had also some of the mental issues due to CTE. Right. So no one finds that out, unfortunately, until after they pass. So that may come to fruition as well in the autopsy. But it's just a sad story that this young man, Stanley Wilson Jr., right, 40 years young, is no longer with us because of a altercation with law enforcement.
Yeah, I don't like that narrative.
Behind bars.
I don't like that narrative because CTE, the CTE narrative, because that's going to say that's what causes them to have erratic behavior for them to be able to utilize excessive force. I don't like that narrative. The bottom line is, if he was a situation where he needed mental help, that place in prison is supposed to provide some type of some help or somewhere where he's not harming himself in that situation, right? If you have mental health issues, they have thousands of people that have mental health issues that are in the prison that they protect. This is a situation where whatever confrontation he got into the police officer, the bottom line, there was excessive force where they killed him. Not because he was acting crazy, not because of whatever. Yeah. They killed him. And excessive force is just another word for murder. You murdered the person.
I mean, We just got
in this situation. Go ahead. We just got in a situation in Memphis where those cops beat that man to death. Yeah. Now we're coming to another situation where this man is incarcerated, where he should be protected, or they should have the resources to go ahead and subdue him non-lethally, and yet they didn't. They killed him. Mm-hmm. So the narrative they're trying to paint. Yeah.
Yeah, and in the story, I got this particular line highlighted, right? There were fresh wounds to his forehead, which appeared to be caused by a shoe. So
he was stomped to death.
So there you go, right? You can think about all of the ramifications, and you can think about how and what and where. That there it is, right there, right? Yeah. Somebody was stomping on this man in his head. Someone with a badge was stomping on this young man. That's not necessary.
People gonna say, wait. People go, he was in prison, he was in jail, he must have did something wrong. Could be so, but he was paying the price for the crime, whatever crime or whatever law he broke. Doesn't mean he deserves to get beat to death by police officers. So I don't want to hear that part. Oh, he was in jail, maybe he did. It doesn't matter what he did in jail. He was paying the price. He was paying the cost for whatever he deemed whatever law he broke. This man was killed in jail. And I wish people would be more accepted about it. This was in a corner of the newspaper. No one even knows about this, or no one's even saying anything about it. This man was murdered in jail by police officers. And that CTE, again, that's a scapegoat. They're always going to go to that. Well, he had CTE. That caused him to do whatever. He may have mental illness, but there's no way you can't tell me you could have took him down non-lethally in a prison. Yeah. You got beanbags, you got all kinds of stuff in prison where they use in riots where they make sure they subdue people to have nonviolent. You mean to tell me you couldn't take this one man down without killing him?
Without stomping him in his forehead?
Come on, man. I'm not buying it. And no, because the paper's trying to paint it as a night.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well, this is what happened, or they always try to justify what they're doing before they even go to trial. They're trying to justify it already. You murdered him. Let's just be honest. You murdered him. You overly aggressive to try to take him down, and you murdered him. And I hope his parents and I hope his family is compensated for the murder because he didn't deserve to die. He was already paying for his crime that he committed.
Yeah, and his crime, why he was in jail, he was arrested for trespassing in August of 2022.
So he died just because he went on someone's property without their permission. Sad damn day. Sad, man. That's sad.
So we'll keep watching it. I mean, there's a number of stories that we report on early on in the investigation process that we watch, and they're still pending. And we'll add this one to the list and to see if there is some closure, if there's some answers, if there's more answers besides just excuses as well, right? Instead of just saying all the way to the end, CTE. You don't know that yet. But again, that's the narrative that's being placed right here. And this is right out of People magazine, people.com. So again, it's not us making it up. I pull the stories from varying sources. So folks will like, oh no, they only go to
no, you pull credible sources. We use credible sources.
I've just CNN, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, People magazine. Listen, I'm not pulling from. I'm not okay. I don't even know what some of the crazy ones are. Yeah, like Cheryl said, that's sad just for trespassing. Jim, we're gonna get into that. I see you talking about them Kings. We're gonna talk about the Kings, man. We may have that as one of the feel good stories here near the end, but we got another puzzling story that we want to talk about. And thank y'all for staying with us. We're gonna go a little bit over tonight, but that's all right. Just go ahead and have your dinner. Turn Team No Sleep on the big screen in 4K because we stream in 4K around here. That's right. This lady right here was one of the main reasons why I watched the Olympics last time. She was just a kick in the pants, right? Raven Saunders out there with the shot put, just out there doing her thing and winning, right? Just bringing all the energy, bringing that vibe, keeping the crowd into it, showing that she was out there, world-class athlete. She has now been unfortunately banned from the Olympics until 2020. No, not just banned from the Olympics, banned from competing until 2024. So let me be clear on that, because she actually should be competing here in the next couple of weeks. But she's been banned from competing at her high level until 2024. Why? Because they couldn't find her. Not because she had. So check that out, right? So she was supposed to take some drug tests, as all professional athletes are. She's supposed to submit her drug test results and things of that. No one could find her. So she didn't necessarily fail a drug test, but they couldn't find her to get the results of her drug test. Doesn't even sound right coming out. And I'm going to read the story so I can do a little less ad-libbing, but that's actually the story right there. A suspension for whereabouts failures means any combination of 3 missed drug tests and or filing failures in a 12-month period. A filing failure could mean incorrectly filling out forms to tell drug testers where an athlete can be found, or not submitting quarterly forms at all. She was suspended because they couldn't find her. Seems kind of ticky-tack to me. Monta, what do you think? That's this from NBC Sports now. Another credible location from NBC Sports, the ones who host the Olympics on TV every 2 years. So
I read it, man, and we talked about it. I'm confused. I'm not sure. She didn't fail a drug test, so that wasn't the issue. And not to mention her mother passed away during this situation. So she was dealing with her mother's situation and doing some things personally, probably trying to get herself back together. And she said she didn't answer calls. She wasn't answering, so she missed the dates. Right? She missed the dates she was supposed to file paperwork or whatever. But I'm just confused. I mean, maybe that's just the rule, and I never was aware of it. But I don't think that constitutes a suspension for a year. But obviously they do, man. This is strange all the way around. This is just a weird kind of story. To me, it seems like they're just trying to make sure she doesn't compete in the Olympics.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's to that level, but again, I think it's unfortunately, I think it's the wrong example to try to make. I think they're throwing the book at the wrong person, maybe. And again, don't know. We're Monday morning quarterback in this right here, but she will use the time during her suspension to focus on her mental health and intensify her training to prepare for the Paris Games. That just means she's gonna be a beast when she
go. But don't you gotta do? But my question is, don't you gotta qualify before that? Like do some qualifying tournaments before you can get to the Olympics, or she automatically get a pass to be qualified to be in it?
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, I believe
I was like,
at her class, at her weight level, and probably at her past experience, maybe shot put is different than some of the other ones, but I can guarantee she's gonna be there. She's just not gonna be at the track and field championships here in when is it here in a few months? But she gonna be in Paris. She gonna be there regardless.
That's like I said. That whole story was kind of just
where are Olympic athletes at? Come through so you can give us some clarity. We just bring the news and if we need some of the holes filled in, y'all can do that for us. But this is an interesting story. Just got me doing the whole Arsenio Hall things that make you go,
No, that Kevin Cox made a good point. Maybe those are protocols that are in place for whatever reason, and you have to follow those in order to make sure you don't suffer the consequences. It just seems like weird, just out of pocket. That seems like a long suspension for not reporting to where you're at. It'd be different if she failed a test. I could understand it 100%. But
yeah, I mean, if we were talking about you messed around and failed a test, but you didn't even wasn't that you just they couldn't find it.
I just didn't tell you where I was at so we can do the test.
Nobody said anything to Aaron Rodgers when he disappeared for a week and went underground in Oregon. Well, okay, I'm gonna leave that alone.
Yeah, man. This is just a weird story, man. But I wish her nothing but the best. I hope she does what she says. She's gonna train her butt off and prove everybody wrong.
Yeah, she gonna be a kick in the pants to see, man. She was pretty flamboyant and she was dominating too, even though she got silver. But I think this is gonna be that fuel she needs to come back and get that gold next time for sure. If you are let's see, Kevin says, but if you are MIA for a long enough time, the PED might be out of your system by the time you take your next test. Makes sense.
I agree. That is the leeriness of it. I agree, Kevin. You're right.
Makes
Absolutely
sense. 100%. Makes sense. I smell it. Cheryl, I smell a lawsuit. Maybe there may be some. As long as we'll see. I'm not even gonna speculate. We will see what happens there. Boxing fans, where y'all at? OGs are coming back. Oh my goodness, Manny Pacquiao can't just sit down and be retired. Manny Pacquiao wants to come back and fight. How do you feel about this? Conor Ben may be in for some. He may be in for some trouble. Manny Pacquiao is a bad man, Manny Pacquiao.
Or we're gonna see the age of Manny Pacquiao be gone. We're gonna see one of the two.
He's a good dude. He's a good fighter, and if he come back even at only 90% of what he was back in the day, he's still gonna do something with them hands.
Yeah, but I mean, let's be real. It's a young man's sport, the big boxing, and there is everybody catches up to him. Caught up to Roy Jones.
He's 44. So Pacquiao is now 44 years old. Yeah.
Yeah, my reasoning is my whole prayer. I don't mind him coming back because if he's at the top of this game and wants to box, who am I to say he's not to? But I hope it's not a money issue, right? I hope Pacquiao saved his money and his coin, and he's not coming back to boxing to be desperate for money. Because every time we see those, it usually doesn't turn out well, right? We don't those fight backs come back don't turn out well. So, but I mean, who's to say, man? I'm glad he's coming back if he wants to compete. Why not? It's all good. It's all good. I hope he puts on a good show.
We shall see.
I'm not paying pay-per-view for it though.
Oh, see, I was gonna come to your house. Yeah, I thought you was gonna pay for it, and I was gonna bring the potato chips. I'm not paying for
that. I'm gonna just catch the highlights on ESPN,
man. Yeah, come on, I'm not gonna pay for it either. But shouts out to him for even being in some physical shape that he thinks he can get back out there and put them hands on somebody. So we'll see if it all leads up. And it hasn't been fully confirmed yet, but they just in talks. it's always about that money.
And shout out to Connor. He about to get his big payday. I never heard of the guy he's fighting against, but he
never
about to
heard
get
of
paid.
him. Never heard of him. He about to walk away with 6-7 figures, right, for just stepping into the ring with him. I would just walk into the ring and then fall down.
Sure, he said, of course, it's the money.
Yeah, right. I would listen. I would just walk in that ring and just fall down, count me out. 8 standing 8 count, done. Give me my. Yeah. And as I'm walking out the ring, go and give me that check. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know why he's fighting. I don't know enough about Manny. He's fighting because he needs the money, or he's just fighting because he loves the sport.
Yeah.
Obviously, Floyd Mayweather fights because he just loves the sports, right? He get in the money so much out there.
I don't know why Floyd fights. I don't know why Floyd fights. He okay. Sometimes I think Floyd's fights are rigged, but we're not gonna get into that. Maybe that'll be
quick. You don't be no hater now.
I know I'm hating. I'm hating like I hate on Patrick Mahomes. He's just so good. I can't stand Patrick Mahomes. He's so good.
Yeah. Okay. You can't hate on him now.
I hate on him. Football, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, let's get back into that real quick. Yeah, what my football fans at? What my college game day fans at? Y'all probably know the name of Desmond Howard. Y'all know Desmond Howard out there. We out there doing his thing, reporting on the game, reporting on all the game. I can't even say it without laughing. I can't even look squarely at the camera about this particular story here. Desmond Howard, Super Bowl champion, Heisman Trophy winner. So the man knows football, plays.
An Emmy winner. He won an Emmy for his college day sports.
That's right. That's right. There's
Howard. He's a certified journalist.
He's certified, right? He's the man is the real deal, Holyfield. He was on a flight. He's just trying to get to where he need to get to. Here, let me read the story. ESPN analyst says an entitled passenger tried to remove him from the plane. And then this word right here, the caucasity of him. Bruh,
I don't even know what that means, but that's a cold word. But that's
I'm gonna start using that word. Listen, I'm just gonna drop that gem on folks. The caucasity of you. That's Howard was flying on the plane. He's got his mask on. I'm gonna summarize, but I'm gonna go into it. He started coughing a little bit. He says he was just clearing his throat. Gentleman that was sitting next to him said, man, went to the flight attendant and said, this guy, I don't want him sitting next to me. Actually, I want him off the plane. Flight attendant says, why? Because he's sick. He's over there coughing. Then the man ended up telling the flight attendant, don't you know me? If you check the records, I more than likely have more clout, more status with this airline than this gentleman over here who's coughing and sick, speaking about Desmond Howard. Well, I believe they did that. I believe they did that analysis and come to find out, oh my God, this is Super Bowl champion. This is Heisman Trophy winner. This is game day analyst Desmond Howard. We not moving him. And sir, if you don't want to be on this flight, you can leave as well. So I'm going to play this video and y'all can hear it.
Supervisor comes up and she speaks to the guy sitting next to me. She said, you want to talk to me? He said, yeah, I think you should remove this gentleman from the plane because he's sick. Talk about me. And I said, oh, I'm sorry, you a doctor? He says, well, you've been coughing all over the place. This is before we even took off, right? I said, well, you can leave the plane, take another flight.
Y'all hear this, right?
All I was doing was clearing my throat. So Carol, the supervisor, she's looking, and guess what card he tried to play? He said, I'm sure if you check our status, my status is higher than his.
Oh, no, he didn't play. That's the dude. That's the dude right there.
Yeah, check our seats and let me know whose status is the highest. And as you see, I'm still sitting on this plane. As a matter of fact, we're in the air right now. The caucasity of him. Unbelievable. All right, everybody, you guys have a happy Sunday. Peace.
the Caucasian. First of all, shouts out to the Uncle Nearest hat right there. Dad, if you still here, that means something. I'm gonna hook you up with some of the wares from Uncle Nearest. I found out about that. But Desmond Howard said the caucasity of this gentleman.
Hey, he said the white privilege in that guy thought he can get him off the plane because he was coughing. That's what he was talking about. That's the caucasity, right?
That's it right there, man. And
the
listen,
white
folks, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, how far you've climbed up the ladder, how far you've achieved in the boardroom or in your profession. There is going to continue to be that type of stigma, that type of barrier to you just being you, just living. Man just got on the plane. I mean, clearing his throat, right? I mean, every time I get on the plane, I'm wearing a mask too, right? Because I'm in that tube, and I don't want to be smelling or whatever you got. What do you think, man? Talk to me your thoughts about the video, and then
he summed it all up, man. He said like the person had the audacity to try to pull his car like, hey, I'm more important than you, right? I'm more important. I got more status in this airlines than you.
He ain't got no status.
And come to find out, he doesn't. It's just a sad man that he paid for his first class ticket. He's flying on a plane. People just need to mind their business sometimes. Again, like if he was, coughing up something that was endangering everybody, then that's a different story. But man, he called clear the store. This guy just didn't want to sit next to him. And I'm going to say my opinion. It's definitely racist. He was definitely being racist, and he probably felt he didn't belong to be in first class.
Yeah,
he didn't deserve to sit up there with first class, and he just got he had to eat crow at that point.
He had to eat that crow.
Yeah, eat that crow, man. And and Desmond was, like I said, his video. He was very polite. He wasn't belligerent. He handled himself like a professional. Because some people would really went off and question that. So I commend him, man. I'm glad he just handled it. I'm glad he put it out there.
Yeah, he's got more. He's got more. I don't know. More to lose, because you and I, we'd have probably said something too. We'd have probably got a little more belligerent. So,
hey, every time we talk about an airline store, every time we talk about an airline store, we get cut off.
Hey,
what's going on?
Hey, so every time we start talking about, every time we talk about somebody out there. I think my line is bugged or tapped or something.
The feds got you tapped.
Man, listen, my internet is paid for. I got highest capability, but as soon as we start talking about the federales on somebody else,
man, that's the second time that they cut us off in our conversation.
Right, when we get into some interesting conversations, but I got fail safes. We back. I'm glad to see everybody still here, but man, that's a trip.
Man, that was please don't know.
Right when we started talking, when we started talking, man, nothing else we were talking about. But as soon as we started,
that was the caucasity of the internet.
Yeah, man, the caucasity of y'all
of the internet on Team No Sleep.
Man, all right. I'm gonna lead out of that. Let's see. Okay, there we go. What the Kev say? Let me get up. Better get on the VPN. Yeah. No. I got some things. That's why we were able to get up real quick. But oh my gosh.
Yeah, man, that was wicked right there.
You see what I'm saying? Somebody watching. I'm worse than the IRS.
Hey, but this is the best thing. I would hope everybody out there, our listeners, are still with us, man. Please tell a friend.
Oh, yeah, everybody's still here. I see the numbers.
We definitely, I think we're hitting some subjects that people don't talk about, and we encourage everybody's comments to come here. I mean, and I want to hear you guys' comments. I want people to out there, please challenge me. Talk, speak your opinion. If you think I'm wrong, say it. And if you are, I'm gonna, if you can prove your point, I'm gonna agree with you, and James is gonna agree with you. But I mean, please tell a friend. We're making sure we grow this platform, because it's imperative we get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations.
There it is right there, folks. I think we should just go now, just in case somebody starts knocking on my door. But no, man, this is great show. Audio seems to be cutting in and out. So yeah, something.
Hey, before we go, put the Howard. Let's talk about the Howard thing real quick before we go. That should be our last story about Howard.
All right. Hey, Kevin, is it my audio or is it Montel's? We'll wait till he responds on that.
Okay.
Yeah. So shouts out to the members in the community. Shouts out to Cheryl for reaching out and feeding us some quality content all the time. The second time that she's actually given us a decent story. Howard University softball coach refuses to be silent on a quote unquote triggering incident. So yeah, my audio is spotty. Must be. So let me not talk and let me let you talk. Is it
Okay.
both of us? Oh, it's both audios. So I tell you what, let's hold this story until next time, until I can come back in and get the audio right. And I apologize for that, folks. But yeah, I've got some redundancies in place, but I'll put some more in as well so the audio doesn't mess up on us next time. Send us home, Martel.
Hey, get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. Say your prayers for people that's having these problems with this weather, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
That's it. We out, y'all.